I don't care what episode it is. I'm not telling that joke. Did you know the intro to the slides that you see as soon as music starts? They're each 4 seconds apart with transition, if I remember to do it, where it fades from one to the other. And the music is 11 seconds long. Now, there's a fade out and everything like that, but that's why every time I hit record, I have to pause for a few minutes. And I usually find myself doing something like taking a sip of water to give myself that pause so I don't just instantly start talking as soon as I see the little light come on. Because my name is Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the Associate Broker and Residential Sales Manager of ProStar Realty, and this is episode 69 of the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast. And it is almost 3 o'clock, and I got 2 hours to get this whole thing recorded and knocked out. So we're going to go a little quick today. Busy, fun times here in the real estate world. Let's go to the numbers, and we're going to talk about the numbers. I'm going to talk about what they mean to you. And then we're going to go to a slide that I've been working on for another presentation, going a little bit about that. And then we'll wrap up with the big magic blue book and the word of the week. So first things first, the numbers. Yes, everything is moving and everything is staying the same at the same time. This is the numbers for May 25th, 2021. Actives this week are 8,600. That is more than we've seen since July of last year. And remember, July of last year, we were still working our way out of that big glut of houses. Wait, actually, that's July of 2020 as I was. All right. So we definitely are. I mean, we have more inventory than we've seen in the last year or so. And that's mostly because of houses coming on the market and the slightly reduction of demand, but mostly that sudden surge of housings we got as homeowners out there decided now it was time to get off the escalator. All right. It's up 842 from the week before. All right. Our new listings that came on were 2,903, which is down 129. Now let's take a look at these next numbers I talk about. All right. We actually got slower amount of houses coming on the market. All right. We're down, we're down there a bit. All right. Under contracts looking for backups are 1,017, down 31. Our pendings are 1,702, down 55. And our contracts with the buyer's contingency are 1,195, down 7. So this is where I stop. Go, hey, wait a minute, that number does not make sense, and realize that I forgot to update this one. Okay. So the actives of 8,600 is up 796 from the week before. All right. Pendings are down. Under contracts looking for backups are down. Buyer contracts about our contingency are down. Our new listings are still coming on very quickly. So that's why you're seeing the surge. They're not coming off as fast as they're going on. Right? They're not coming back as on the market as fast as rate as we saw the last 2 weeks, because remember we were starting to spike. And if next weekend I'm doing this listing or doing this and everything like that, and we see that new number comes down, we can pretty much say that that sudden little spike we saw was that seller concerned, whole bunch of people who think their time in the market just decided to jump off. All right. So that's what we got going on there. Closings were 1,949. We have 1,193 listings coming on next week, which is also starting to come down. So I think we're getting done with this little seller surge, which is funny because traditionally in the spring we do get a seller surge. I'm wondering how many of these houses are houses that were going to be listed in, say, June, July, August, and people just decided, let's push everything forward a month early, and they just pulled it forward. Now that they've seen the interest rates are starting to level out, they're getting back into it. So we see that a lot in real estate. The first time I really saw it big was back in, I want to say it was like 2014, 2013 or so. There was this big tax credit they gave people for buying a house, and tax credit, not tax, but what happened is it pulled the entire next year's buyers forward a year. People who were planning on buying 2014 said, hey, we got this little window, this 6-month window. If we buy now, we get this huge tax credit. Let's go do it. And unfortunately what that did was that was robbing future real estate to pay off today's real estate. Almost like ripping off future generations by whipping out the credit card that you're going to bequeath down to them and running it up so you can get yourself something cool or something not cool, like, hey, let's pay for a war in Ukraine, whatever like that. So let's see how this thing plays out in the next couple months and whatnot. From the Cromford report numbers, our demand is at 97.4, still trending down, still considered what's normal for a normal real estate market. Right? Our supply is still creeping up. We are at 32.6, and I did a quick calculation, and we are at literally 3 buyers for every 1 house out there. So just as we're seeing, right? Normal, balanced market, no winners, no losers. That number will be 1 to 1, all right? Whatever those two numbers are right here, right? The closer these two numbers get is the heat or of the market. When those two numbers get together, if the numbers are low and together, right, that means you're in a buyer's slow market, right? If both of those numbers are very close together and over 100, now we're in a, a normal market, but with a lot of activity, right? So it's funny. Picture these two numbers as also marketing activity, all right? But it's the distance between the two. That actually makes the difference between a buyer's market and a seller's market. So I tell you that to tell you this. So obviously, if you were a real estate agent, the thing you'd want right now is listings. All right. And we always push, our agents is like, there's this term in real estate, listers or lasters, right? And so, and buying and selling a house, I mean, 4 or 5 months ago, you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a buyer or a wannabe buyer upside the head. All right. Now we're seeing the buyers are starting to come down, but there's still a lot more buyers out there than in our houses. So when you're in this racket, you want to be where the less amount is, right? If there's not a lot of houses out there, you want to have you want to be the one with the houses out there, right? If there's not a lot of buyers out there, you're the one who wants to have a lot of buyers. So you will see advertising messaging switch back and forth as we go along. And so we are currently working on, we want sellers. Doesn't mean we're not going to help you out if you're a buyer or anything like that, but for our advertising dollars, we put our advertising dollars to, do you want to sell a house? Do you need to sell a house? So real estate agents create what they call a listing presentation book. Back in the old days, all right, it was literally a book. In fact, this is a very old listing book that, looking at the pictures, this one right here is probably about mid-aughts, maybe mid-90s and whatnot. You can tell by the presentation. This earlier one here is even better, all right, because it's got artwork in here that, if you can see that artwork, some of the stuff, it looks like it came out of the 1960s and, maybe 1970s, and anybody over the age of 50, you've seen these kind of pictures before, and especially whoever this artist was, he was like all over the place, and just cranking these things out. And so you'd go in there with your listing presentation book and you go through and flip it through page after page, and you talk about what the image on the page was representing. And most of the time it was just to help you remember what you're going to talk about next. Well, this is the modern age, and now we do PowerPoint. So I was sitting there creating a listing presentation that I can then train my agents on. And we're going to do, some role playing and get out the dice and stuff like that. So you're going to take an average of your intelligence and charisma score, add them together, right? Take the bonus of what they added together as roll versus a DC of -5 and see what we can come up with that. Sound good? So as we're doing this and everything, though, I don't remember actually clicking on that, and I decided to go down though. As we're doing this, though, we tell you, hi, this is us. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Right? Your problem is you have a property you do not want to have anymore, and we're the consultants you're bringing in to help you find a solution for that. So one of the slides I came across, or I put together for this thing, is this one right here. So let me see. So this is one of our slides, all right? And this is, just explains to you that, the 3 ways And honestly, I can come up with about 5 or 6 other ones, right? But the 3 main ways where we take care of your problem when you need to get rid of a house. And I put this chart together to sort of get it so you can easily compare the 3 different ways, right? We have the traditional sale. This is the one everybody knows, right? You go in there, get your house ready to sell, goes on the MLS, sign goes up, negotiate. Bob's your uncle, we sell the house. Many, many, many more moving parts than that. All right. And this is something a lot of real estate agents are going to have to learn. There's an entire generation of real estate agents out there who do not actually know how to sell a house in a market where all you had to do was throw a sign up. Sometimes a house was sold before the sign guy brought the sign out. Sometimes you sold the house before you actually put it on the market. People are going to have to, it's a return of the old gods, right? You have to learn the old ways. Right? And the old ways are how to market and sell a house. Right? So with a traditional sale, though, you're going to get a decent price. You're going to get market price. Right? There's ways to get best price. Right? For ease, it's not the easiest way in the world. All right. I mean, you do have to deal with people coming into your house, and you do have to keep clean. And if you're living in the house, you have to suddenly be able to be vacant so they can show the house. All right. And ultimately, there's a problem with the timing of the buying, right? If you are in this market right now and you need to buy another house and you need to sell the house that you're currently in to get the equity out to purchase the next house, that timing could make it a little bit of an issue, especially when you're trying to buy the house and you're trying to buy the house, with the requirement that buyer's contingency we're always talking about on the numbers, right? That can be problematic. Right. So there's a solution to that. All right. And that's the next way. And that's a knock program or a similar program to that. And what this is knock is a lender that will lend you the money to buy the house, even if a normal lender says, no, you have to sell this other house first. Right. They've stepped into that gap. All right. And so what they do is not only do they lend you the money to buy the current house, right, but then you can take your time to sell your old house after you've already moved out. All right. This allows you to get a better price, all right, because they will also loan you up to $25,000 for repairs, upkeep. Maybe you want to recarpet and repaint and everything like that. This is awesome because if you don't have that money, these guys will loan you that money in advance so you can get that house knocked out. See what I did there? That was completely off the cuff. So, and for timing for buying, this is probably the best way to do it because you don't have to worry about what you do with your old house, right? It's a great program. I hear that the closing rates are a little bit higher than normal and everything like that, but I really think it's worth the bang is worth your buck on that one. Right? And finally, what we have is we have the Irep program, and that's the program that we hear where we take your property and we blow it out to all the different open door, offer pad, these guys, and solicit bids from all of them. Right? You are going to take a hit on price. You are going to take a hit on price. They do not overpay like Zillow used to. Right? And there's a reason why Zillow got out of this, right? So you're going to take a hit, all right? But for ease of transaction, easiest one out there. All right. The only person who comes into your house is me on majority of these transactions. I take good pictures. I take video. I know what they're going to be looking for, so they have everything in hand that they need to know this is the house, what the value on this house is. So very easy to do that. The timing for buying also works really good because you can also get under contract, then turn around and sell your house to an iBuyer program on this. There's a timing issue, but that timing issue is all on the real estate agent, not on yours at all. And you will go through a little period of time where you are under contract and the iBuyer has not actually fully accepted the offer they gave you and stuff. So, if you're one of those people who are going to stay up late at night going, when is this going to happen? Task 37 has not been completed and I'm stressed out about it. This might not be a good setup for you, but it is very, very good for those, for those situations where when prices you're not that wedded to getting full cash value out of your house, right? And you're looking for the ease and comfort of the transaction. And we can represent you guys on that. So that's all of this. So this is going in my listing presentation, and so that's why I decided to include it. If you got any questions on this kind of stuff, like, share, subscribe below, leave me a comment, call me, talk to me, email me, whatever you want to do, and I'll talk your ear off about all these things. You know that. So last thing I wanted to cover. All right, last thing I wanted to cover. See, I go through and I update all these things, but I've been cheating, and I just wanted to have a spare background going on. Was basically the big blue book of real estate. I swear I must have bent the spine or something on this, because it keeps landing on fee simple. It's like a running joke around here now. Standby commitment. This is good. A commitment to issue a loan, usually for a term of 1 to 5 years after completion of construction. In the event a permanent loan cannot be obtained, the standby loan is usually at a higher interest rate than a permanent loan, and a standby fee is charged. So standby commitment is something it's there on tap, and we used to have this issue. You contract a builder to build a house. You take out a loan based on the builder's estimate. And then all of a sudden, the builder is done and the appraiser comes out there and says, yeah, you spent all the money and stuff like that, but the house is not really worth what you put into it. I don't know, you wouldn't even think about that time, but remember, this book has terms in here going back to the Middle Ages. All right, so that used to actually be an option. So you'd have these standby commitments sitting there on standby, right, in case you were not able to refinance out of your construction loan into a normal loan. Hopefully in that 1 to 5 years, you would have the option to refinance out. Because remember, construction loans are closed-ended. They're a very short time period. All the money gets paid off after X amount after the construction is completed. So it's almost like a bridge loan in that case. It's like an emergency loan. So like I said, I bet you nobody's had to do one of these things in at least the last 10, 15 years. They were probably really, really common back in about 06, 07, and especially 08. So not that a lot of people were building back then. But so anyways, let's wrap this up, because I got stuff to do, and we got a weekend coming up, right? It's a 3-day weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Want your children and pets around the swimming pool. Have a really good time. Do not drink and drive. All right, because that causes accidents. All right, and don't drink and park, because accidents cause children. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Work your circles, and I'll see you guys next week.